Hey everybody, I'm Daniel Patterson of Team Kuhl Discs, and today we're going to take a look at what's in my bag. So for starters, the bag I use, Dynamic Disc Commander bag. I've had this thing for years, probably 7 or 8 years. Not a sign of wear on it. It's really just got everything I need. Big pockets, holds all the discs I could want. Really no plans on switching. As far as what I carry with me outside of discs, just to look at that first, I've got this little phone clip. I use this a ton. Helps me film any videos I may need, put up on Instagram and whatnot. Obviously, I've got some towels. That's a must. I've got this fun little knee pad here. It's the Kneesy by Touch. Really comes in handy for those knee putts. Happens a lot when you're out in the woods out here. One of the most important things in my bag is this lacrosse ball, actually. Fantastic for knocking discs out of trees. You know it happens. Sometimes you just need to do it. And other than that, got my trusty disc retriever here, as well as this little orange stake I carry around. Once again, just for those super wooded courses. Sometimes you need to spot something. Put your little stake in the ground so that your card mate can come find it. And after that, we'll go ahead and move on to some discs. Alright, so taking a look first at my putt and approach discs. First things first, putting putters. I use DX AVRs. I started with these from the very beginning. I got one in a Innova starter pack. I've tried a few things. I've tried to quit them. I just can't. I've accepted it. These are just the best feeling putters for me. I like them. As far as approach go, I am a zone guy. I carry 3 zones. I've got 2 in Jawbreaker. I've got this guy that's been pretty beat up. Seen better days, but I love it. It is understable now. I can throw it flat. It'll get a nice turn to it, forehand or backhand. I've got this fresher Jawbreaker zone here. This thing, pretty darn straight, just a little fade at the end. And then just the classic ESP zone. We all know what this does, and we love it. And then for my last approach disc, right now I'm carrying a VIP Sparkle Anvil. This really just is when I need something with just a little bit more stability than the zone. Maybe a headwind or throwing a nice flex shot or something like that. Alright, moving on to mid-ranges. I only carry 3 in my bag, and if I'm honest, I actually really don't go for these that much. But what I'm carrying right now for my understable mid-range is the Sphia, and I believe this is K1 plastic. These things feel great. If you've ever felt a Cast-A-Plast disc, the plastic is just incredible. This guy's got just a little turn to it, basically no fade. So I love it for that. And then probably the one mid-range I do go to quite a bit, just a classic ESP Buzz. Fantastic straight disc. You all know what this does. And then probably one of the more underrated mid-ranges out there. This is the Westside Pine. This thing is fantastic. Can throw this thing hard and straight. It'll just stay flat with just a consistent finish at the end. Nothing too crazy overstable, but just a nice reliable mid-range. For my fairway drivers, right now I'm carrying 2 Axiom Insanities. I've got this one, it's a little bit older, just a little bit more understable. And then just take a look at that one. I've got my Team Kuhl Discs Insanity. This one was done courtesy of Paper Disc Dies. Check them out. And this guy is pretty new and actually still goes pretty straight. Just a little turn, little finish. And then for just a little bit more stable shots, I've got the Axiom Crave. These things are awesome. Once again, I can just throw it hard and flat. It'll stay pretty darn straight the whole time. Just a tiny little fade at the end. And honestly, for some reason with this disc, if I don't throw it well, it somehow still ends up coming out great. It's just super forgiving. Forgiving is what I would call it. And moving on, I've also am carrying the Discmania Instinct. This is kind of in that T-bird type slot that everybody's got. I love this thing. It somehow just goes a lot farther than I would expect it to for being a 7-speed, and obviously is just super reliable. I might even say it's got a little bit more than the 2 fade that it's advertised, but it works out just perfect for me. And moving on to my Firebirds. I'm carrying 2 right now. Sometimes it's 3, at times it's been 4. I do love my Firebirds. This disc in particular, probably the favorite disc in my bag. Just an old Stumptown Disc Golf Firebird. I actually got this at my very first sanctioned tournament. So that's a fun, I don't know, little sentimental value. Also, this thing is so beat up, it really doesn't act like a Firebird anymore. I use this for forehand hyzers, hyzer flips. So I'll get it to flip up and turn through the woods. And I also just put an ace on this thing just less than a week ago. So extra special. And then I'm also carrying a Sexton Firebird. This is the 21 version. Just a nice classic Firebird shot as well. And then I used to carry a really nice flat Firebird that was just super beefy. Lost it. Couldn't quite find another Firebird like it, but I'm now bagging the Captain's Raptor, which essentially fills that slot perfectly right out of the bag. Just super overstable, so if I need to throw a little flex shot or something that I just cannot have go left, this is the one. Onto my distance drivers. We'll kick it off with the Champion Turn. I actually love these things. As somebody that doesn't really have the best backhand, this is great for me to get the most distance I possibly can. It's got some good understability, so I can get a nice turn on it with still just a little finish. Okay, moving on. Probably my favorite distance driver out there, Innova Wraith. I've got 4 of them right now. I've been known to carry up to 6 at a time, but I've got a couple of Pro Wraiths in the bag right now. This one's super beat up, pretty light. It's incredibly flippy. I can throw this thing on a hyzer, it'll flip, it'll turn. It probably won't come back. Sometimes I'll use it for rollers as well. Really fun to throw. This one, a little bit newer, a little more weight on it. It's just kind of a nice straight backhand driver for me. I really don't use either one of these for forehands ever. Just backhands only. And then moving on to Champion Wraith. This guy I will use forehand or backhand. Backhand, it's once again pretty straight, just a little bit more finished than that yellow Pro Wraith. And then for forehands, I'll use it as something that'll flip up and might even get me a little turn, but for a little bit longer distance than that beat up Firebird I talked about earlier. And then finally, I've got the Halo Wraith, which is much more stable than the standard Champion Wraith here. I use this for both forehand and backhand all the time. For backhand, it's more of a flex shot for me, and for forehands, I just use it for kind of a little flip-up straight shot typically, or occasionally, you know, kind of a Anheuser turnover, and it'll just hold it for me. Alright, so I've also am carrying a Alex Russell Color Glow Boss. This thing is only for just absolute maximum distance when I need it to go as far as I can possibly throw it. So last weekend, actually a couple weekends ago, we were out on the golf course. I threw this on pretty much every hole. I just needed it to go far. I will also occasionally use this for, 400 plus foot shots, just winding through the woods. It has a lot of left to right movement both ways, a lot of turn, a lot of fade, and it goes far. For a more consistent forehand, I've got this Kuhl Seattle Mariners dyed Star X-Cal. So this guy will just throw it hard, flat. I use it for big old spike hyzers, just for consistent, moderate distance shots as well. This one was done by Forge Discs also out of Bend, Oregon. So give them a check out as well. And then finally, last disc, I've got the Infinite Disc Slab. This thing is just super beefy. It's really just like a utility type disc for me. Flex shots or just massive skips. I do end up going to it quite a bit. It's very reliable for me. I always know exactly where it's going to go. Alright, well thanks for watching. That was it for my In the Bag. I'm going to shout out my sponsors here real quick. Pro Pole Disc Golf, Shank Disc Golf, and Kuhl Discs. Check out my Instagram. I've got them all linked there. And you can get special discounts from me as well. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. And check out KuhlDiscs.com. Use my name, Daniel, at checkout. You can get a 10% discount. Thanks for watching, guys.